Ahoy, ahoy, and welcome to a brand new edition of Ramble on Reactions. Sitting right over there without a dog is Clever Eric Muller.
Sitting over there without a dog is Handsome Dan Nye.
There may be an outtake at some point, at somewhere, where we tried to start this review, and Ruby was about this much of the frame, like my entire arm.
If we could CGI Ruby
over my arm,
yeah,
it would be that. But I mean, that would be really expensive and also kind of like hard to shrink down. Speaking of shrinking down, we saw Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ants! Which was a preview for the first one, I think?
Yeah.
Where it was just like them.
Michael Douglas and Paul Rudd just screaming, ants!
Which, yeah, it's roughly accurate for the second one, too. So this is Ant-Man and Wasp, and it's
more Wasp than Ant-Man.
It is more Wasp than
Which
Ant-Man.
I like.
So this takes place before Infinity War?
Before Infinity War and slightly after,
Civil War.
2 years after Civil War.
Yes, 2 years after Civil War. Which they talk about the Civil War thing, but like, I was wondering how they were going to make that distinction as a moviegoer. Like, sure, this isn't after Infinity War, and I'm like, it's a palate cleanser. This movie is 100% a palate cleanser.
They'll be getting ready for Captain Marvel and then Avengers 4.
We're getting ready for the Sir's business to happen with
super cereal.
None of the vowels. So you get Ant-Man and Wasp, but yeah, you're right. I feel like had Ant-Man not come out first, they could have flipped it and it would have made more sense.
Yes,
because you get a lot more Wasp in the movie in general. And
well, it's more of the Hank Pym family. It's more focused on Janet and Hank and Hope and like Paul Rudd, as charming as ever, is there for the ride, more or less. I mean,
so I mean, the movie starts with him under house arrest and how he's been living with that, and then they're trying to get into the quantum realm, and shenanigans ensue. That's more or less the plot of the movie.
And there are a buttload of villains.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting too, where you get your way over the top henchman type villain with Walton Goggins, and everyone knows I love me some Walton Goggins.
We all love some Walton Goggins.
And he's a Southern gentleman in this movie, which makes him
very Southern.
Which makes him very interesting to watch.
And very much a gentleman.
So yeah, and it's most hair I've ever seen on his head.
Really?
Like he's kind of thinning
more
as
than Tomb
is.
Raider?
I didn't see Tomb Raider.
Oh, he's got a beard going too. So.
Oh well, hair and beard. But this. What would you think he was a better villain in, this or Tomb Raider?
Tomb Raider, I don't know, because in actuality, he didn't actually need to be in this film. Like, I'm not like bashing him because I love him as an actor, but like his character could have literally been played by anyone.
Yeah,
you're just there to supply the meat shields for Ant-Man and Wasp to beat up.
I would, this is almost...
Because you can't beat up the FBI agents, because then there's consequences, because the FBI is also villains in this, especially...
Oh, they're great.
What's his name?
Randall Park.
Randall Park
is amazing,
too. I loved him in this.
But do you want to get dinner? Like, he's so charming. He's so awkward and charming.
Right.
It's amazing.
How did you do that trick?
Yeah. The jokes in this, again, another movie co-written by Chris McKenna.
Mm-hmm.
So he is on fire, literally. Which, because, we're big fans of Community and Chris McKenna and all that jazz.
He's streets ahead.
Streets ahead. If you have to ask, your streets behind. So we got a little bit of that. We have another villain named Ava who can walk through walls.
She's a ghost, literally.
She's quantum phasing, which is interesting.
I mean, it's a really cool dynamic, because that's what helps Ant-Man and the Wasp separate from the other Marvel movies, is the fact that the villains and the characters have such cool powers in the way they can do their fight scenes with the whole size shrinking and then the ghost being able to phase in and out of things. It's really cool to see on the screen and how it makes it different than just punch. But you have cool stylized punching with that, and that plays to their advantage.
Yes, definitely. And so this is the thing where essentially how you had Corey Stoller, whatever. Corey Stoll. I think it's Stoll. The villain from the first movie. He's a great actor, one of those character actors you'd see in all the different things. So imagine you take his character and split it into two.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what they did for the villains in the second movie. You get someone who's fighting with the powers, then you get somebody who's like on the business heavy side, as in Walton Goggins. And then you get Larry Fishburne coming in as a frenemy of Hank Pym's. And I think that's pretty much all the characters. Michelle Pfeiffer was great.
Yep.
Liked her. The de-aging. So this is something.
De-aging's on point.
The de-aging is super on point, but this is a thing I wanted to bring up. Essentially, they took all the parts that you liked from the first Ant-Man and doubled down on all of it. on the de-aging, on the jokes, on the like large to small action. The only thing I was a little sad we didn't get more of was like the Thomas the Tank Engine sequence in the first one.
Well, that's replaced with the Pez dispenser.
A little bit.
Well, also what I did like is they didn't keep calling back to the first one, like with Michael Pena, with him, like Lewis's like speech thing where he tells the whole.
They use it once.
They use it once, which is a great callback, and that's all I needed. I didn't need them to do it like 3 times.
I agree, but yeah, but other things you like, you're gonna go into some negatives.
Other things I liked, I like the action, as I said earlier, and I was gonna say I really like the special effects. I mean, in general, like the disco lighting with how they go from large to small and vice versa. And then again, also the de-aging is great. Like I'm looking more forward to Captain Marvel now with how they're able to do the de-aging.
Samuel Jackson. They did 3 different actors for this. Yeah,
he's also gonna be de-aged.
Carlson, yes.
He'll be de-aged too. So I'm like, okay, yeah.
Let's do it.
Negatives. I felt like there's a couple sequences where they could have like just cut the jokes early.
It gets overwhelmingly jokey, and I'm worried we're getting to not a tipping point, but we're getting to a divergence in Marvel movies where you go serious or you go jokey, because that's what we've been getting a lot recently. And I'm like, that was a little bit one of my beefs with Ragnarok, and I've watched it since, and I love the movie, but it's like, how much is too much? Because like in Winter Soldier and even Civil War, there's a fantastic dynamic balance, and even in Infinity War, there's still some lighthearted moments. But it's kind of like there's a balance to some of them, but then other ones they're just like too much.
Right, and like I said, there's like the school sequence.
Yes.
Which at first I thought was funny, but like they just
it's a long joke.
It's a long joke, and you literally could have cut it in half.
Another beef for me is, I don't want to get too much into spoilers, but how the motivation of the plot goes forward. You get Ant-Man like kind of just being really choosy when he decides he wants to. You'll know what I'm talking about. When he decides what he wants to weigh in, like what's important to him, where it's like, they don't really show you that he's torn as a character between like one, and this minor spoiler, but it's in the very beginning of the movie. They don't tell you whether or not he's really trying to finish his house arrest or whether he's trying to go on the adventure. And for me, it drops off too quick, where he's like, I'm in, and it's like, are you? Because like less than 2 minutes ago, you were saying you had to get home, and then it seems to pop up like as it's necessary for the plot. And this is a little picking nits, but I was like,
And my little nitpicking, like certain characters, like they didn't need to bring back, like his ex-wife and her new husband. Like they really didn't.
See, that's the thing.
First off, you completely 180 both their characters from the previous film, and there's no explanation.
No, but that's how the last film ends, where they actually see like his value and they see everything he did for their daughter and literally saving their lives. Yeah. So I do. That's what you didn't like that. I actually really enjoyed it because literally it's so funny because every time they see him, it's just like big hugs. Right. It's like they're just friends. I actually really like that.
I loved it when she was actually going after the FBI. I was like, oh, what does that stand for?
Well, that's Judy Greer because she's just hysterical as a comedian. But
other nitpicks, just too many irons in the fire with the villains. If they would have just narrowed it down and then like they give the backstory more of the villain when we didn't really need it. And then I just love where it's like, oh, you have questions about the quantum realm? Answer is science. Like me and Dave were watching the theater. There's moments where like when they were doing like science things, and we'd just be like, "And science,
here, have some science." Okay, let me give you this healthy harding of science. Portion. I said harding. Whatever.
But again, those are just nitpicks. And
these are nitpicks, but I feel like we're also at a point where like these Marvel movies,
you know what you're getting. You can't be shocked, and you can't really be like, I expect flaming young, but really you're just getting a nice quality steak.
This is a burger.
This one's a burger.
This is a burger. So this is like you got your fillet, you got your $60 plate of food for Infinity War,
right?
And this is like
Black Panther was a nice steak dinner.
Yes,
you know, like this a T-bone.
Yeah, this is your burger. This is a solid cheeseburger where it's like maybe we'll say this is a chicken sandwich because this is like I am so full on all this delicious beef. Mm-hmm. I need something a little lighter. I need something
except for the post credits. That shit gets dark.
Oh my god! So yeah, there is post credit scenes. 2 of them, one pre-credits, one post-credits, and we can't talk about them, but like we can give you...
Shit gets dark.
I'll do mine first, and then you can see his. I'm watching it like this. And then Eric's watching it like,
oh no.
So that's just a little tease of that. All that being said,
let's grade this film.
Sure.
Dan, you go first.
I'm going B-, just because it was, the first one was it came out right after Civil War.
Yeah.
Or no, not after Civil War.
After Winter Soldier.
It's somewhere around there. Or maybe it might have
when
been
we first started
Age of
recording.
Ultron. It might have been after Age of Ultron.
Because when we started recording.
But that's different because that was... Ant-Man was wholly original, and what I said a second ago about it actually doubling down on everything, they took all the parts you love and they gave you more of it, but I'm still watching it and I'm like, I understand the motivations for all these characters, but it's like, it feels like they literally wrote characters as counterpoints in the plot. Like it just didn't feel very organic to me. Granted, it's a comic book movie, but this is since a big part of our dialogue has been talking about these movies, I think we scrutinize them a little more than other movies because we hold them to a high esteem. So I give it B-. Eric?
I give it a B because I enjoyed the first anime more because it was a heist film. It knew exactly what it was. This one, you can't say what it is.
Yeah. It's kind of a heist film, kind of a rescue mission.
It's more of a broken family trying to come together, but a comedy.
Yeah, a lot of comedy. The comedy's not bad. Science.
But... it's enjoyable, see it in the theaters. Again, it's just, like Dan said earlier, it's a palate cleanser after everything we went through in Infinity War.
So it'll be really interesting to see how, because I was a little hoping, like, after a good friend of the show, Nate, told us what the after-credit scenes were, I was still holding out hope, like, we'd get any Captain Marvel, and I was like, and no. So that's a little spoiler, but don't go into it.
I was actually hoping they were going to give us the title of the Avengers 4 in this.
That is actually, we can say, we saw that the title for Avengers 4 is attached to the teaser for Captain Marvel. And I did hear that, like, a month or so ago. So hopefully that's still a thing. But I mean, we got less than a year for that. So, as always, that was our thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp. Thank you very much for watching this far. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Let us do all those things. Let us know what you thought about Ant-Man. If you thought Ant-Man and the Wasp 2 was a worthy successor and a great palate cleanser, or it was like, meh. So, clever Eric Muller sitting right over there.
Wearing an anchor shirt because he's the anchor of this show. Handsome Dan.
As always, ramble on.
Do you want to get dinner?
Do you, but no, we can get dinner if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get dinner.
Yeah.